Hey, Streetwalkers. I just wanted to pop in here and introduce a quick message from friend of Fascination Street, Vinny Tortorich. Take it away, Vinny.
Hi, guys. As you know, Fat a documentary is in the can, as they like to say in Hollywood. But hey, now we need distribution, and a lot of big companies are considering our movie. That's great. One of those companies happens to be Netflix. They have the movie right now. But you know what? We can help it along. As it turns out, Netflix has a place you can go to request TV shows and movies. So go do that. Go to help.netflix.com and let them know you want to see Fat, a documentary. Once again, go to help.netflix.com and let them know you want to see our movie, Fat, a documentary. Thanks.
Once again, guys, go to help.netflix.com and on the far right, under Quick Links, click on Request TV Show or Movie, and then type in Fat, a documentary. Let's all get behind this documentary and help it get one step closer to everybody being able to see it. Thanks, Streetwalkers. And now, on with the show. I believe that everybody has a story, and I'm fascinated to hear them. So come with me as we take a walk down Fascination Street. Hey guys, if you like what I'm doing, click the Amazon banner at the top of the homepage on FascinationStreetPod.com and do all of your shopping through Amazon. Once you click on it and it takes you to Amazon, you can bookmark it or add it to your favorites and you won't have to go to my site each time. It helps me keep the show going, and again, thanks for listening. Welcome back, Streetwalkers. This episode is with Emma Faye Rudkin. Emma is a two-time Miss San Antonio and fourth runner-up for Miss Texas, who started an international charity to help the hard of hearing and the deaf communities while she was a freshman in college and only 18 years old. Emma not only operates and fundraises for her charity Aid the Silent, she also does the same for the Good Vibrations Music Festival. Besides being named San Antonio's Woman of the Year for 2018's 40 Under 40, Emma is also a council member on the Committee for People with Disabilities at the office of Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Emma lets me play a song in this episode that was written and performed by her and fellow artist Ryan Proudfoot. It's an amazing song. Have a tissue ready. It will give you the chills and make you cry, the whole 9 yards. And did I forget to mention that Emma is deaf? No, I didn't forget to mention it. It's just not one of the top 5 things that makes her such a remarkable young lady. Streetwalkers, I'm calling on you, my street team. Enjoy this episode, share this episode, and tell everybody you've ever met about this episode. This is one of the most inspirational and impressive young ladies I've ever had the opportunity to speak with. And this is my interview with Emma Faye Rudkin.
Yeah, talk to me, yeah.
Welcome to Fascination Street Podcast. Emma Rudkin, how are you doing today?
So good. Thank you for thinking of me.
It is my pleasure. Now, obviously, most people don't know, but we've kind of known each other for almost 10 years. Mm-hmm. And it was probably maybe 1 year ago that I found out that you were deaf and or hard of hearing. And that shocked me. Like, I had no idea. Because, yes, we've known each other sort of for almost 10 years, but we don't really interact that much. There's just very little every once in a while. But I had no idea that you couldn't hear as well as everybody else. So this sounds dumb, but congratulations.
Thanks.
I didn't know. And so when your mom told me that, I don't even remember how it came up. I think it had something to do with Aid the Silent.
Yes.
And so when she told me that, I didn't believe her.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, Emma, can you talk about how you lost your hearing or when?
Yeah, so it all started around the time I was 3 years old. My parents started to notice that something was different and just off in my response. And I was very delayed on speech, just comprehension. And so my parents were told that I should go have a hearing test, and they said that that was the most life-altering moment because it shocked them that the first person they ever met that was deaf was their own daughter. And so that's what a lot of people with deaf children, they experience, is that they have no idea what to do or where to go. And so my parents, from an earlier age, they put me in speech therapy. I was given hearing aids, access to any type of resource that I would need, but it really was not a deaf community. So sign language was not the first thought because I'm in a hearing community. I was going to be in a mainstream school. My parents aren't deaf, so it was just kind of not the first thought. Later it became a part of my story, but early on I was just trying to lip read. So just adapting as a deaf person, you end up lip reading and just judging off of facial expressions. But I have profound hearing loss, which means that I'm missing 70 to 80% in both of my ears. So I have what's called bilateral profound loss.
Wow. And so that was from birth?
From the time I was 3.
So
they think it was from a high fever with an infection.
Oh, really?
Yes, but they're not quite sure. We'll never know for sure. But around that time, it could have been that I had gotten meningitis that was undetected or something like that. Just a really high fever is all they knew that was different.
So I think you said you're the first deaf person they ever met? Mm-hmm. Wow. That has to be a real shock, like you said, for a parent, and that's the first interaction that you have, and then all of a sudden you have to figure out what to do and what to learn and how to do it, and that must have been a pretty big deal.
Yes, and just knowing my parents' stories now, just knowing what a time of faith it had to be, and just the testing and what they were experiencing, how to kind of navigate what to do, because my mom had just had my little brother, so she was a young mother. She ran a company that she had just started, then found out she had a deaf daughter. So just so overwhelming, I'm sure, for her. I'm
sure, yeah, especially with another little baby and, like you said, a new career. Growing up, I think you said you went to regular mainstream schools. Mm-hmm. How was that experience for you?
At first, I did not know I was different. I just knew that I was alone a lot, and I knew that on the playground, all my friends would be playing, but I just wouldn't know what they were doing or how they were playing. So I just kind of chose isolation a lot of times. It was just easier, I think, than trying to understand. So I had some close friends, but for the most part, I just decided, I can't play that game because they're singing a song or they're talking a lot. And just at school, I had to lip read. So a lot of times I would completely miss the concepts and they would be talking about math. Well, then I'd go home and try to do math homework, but wouldn't even understand the day's lessons. So I would have to take home textbooks for almost every class and really teach myself how to do school and then do homework. And just things like that. I think people didn't try to intentionally leave me out, but no one really knew because kids aren't trained very well. They're not taught all the time that here's someone with a different ability. How do you love someone well? That's your classmate that can't hear. So they're not aware of it. So sometimes it just comes out in ways that are not very kind, or constantly I was pointed out that my voice was different, that my hearing aids were ugly. And so just this constant reminder of, you're not like everybody else. You really don't belong like everyone else.
I think you referred to yourself as different ability, right? And so that's not disability, that's different ability. I really like that phrasing. I think that is less disrespectful. And I've never heard that.
Really? So different ability? Yeah. Different. I mean, of course I have a disability. It's obvious in my story, but also just realizing this was not the thing that holds me back. And so much of my story is figuring out how to change what was a disability in people's eyes and to an ability. I work with a lot of children that have special needs or just different needs, and it's always kind of figuring out, okay, the terms that we use are not people first. So one thing that I have to really navigate is, okay, I'm deaf, and I'm very publicly known for being deaf, but how do I keep Emma first before being deaf? So always keeping my identity just as Emma, and then that's just a part of me.
That makes sense. I like that.
So just remembering that. And then also, like, people always use the term hearing impaired, which is not the worst term. If some people, they want to be called that, but for the majority of deaf people, we don't want to be called that we have an impairment. So it's important that it's not saying, okay, I always need to be hearing, I need to fit in the hearing world. Okay, but there's a middle ground. The hearing world can meet the deaf world, and it doesn't have to be one or the other.
Right.
So the hearing world, we always talk about, we want them to embrace who we are and be in our world. Well, we should be willing to go into a hearing person's world as well. You know, does that make sense? This kind of middle meeting place of learning sign language and meeting each other where we're at, I think is important.
I think that's real wise because, like you said, you know, like you learned to read lips at an early age, and that was part of you trying to not really assimilate, but kind of, like you said, meet in the middle. I think that's really sweet. So were you wearing hearing aids from 3?
Yes. So this, from the time I was 3 until now, I've been in hearing aids. So what it is that my hearing loss, people think that you have to talk louder, or that you need amplification, or that you need to over-enunciate, and that just makes it worse because we're trying to lip read what seems natural.
Oh, okay.
And so when you over-enunciate, you're like, what word is that? That doesn't look normal.
That makes sense.
And also with amplification, hearing loss has to do with missing sound, not volume. Like the CH sound, the SH sound, a G, K, most of the alphabet I can't hear because it's not in my frequencies of what I can hear. So hearing aids, the computers that are trying to fill in the missing gaps with artificial over-exaggerated sound. So when people say, just talk louder, that doesn't help because you're trying to give a sound amplification that doesn't exist for me.
Gotcha. Thank you for explaining that. That was very informative. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, a little bit of backstory on you. I believe in 2015 and 2017 you were Miss San Antonio?
Yes.
And that's the first time that there's been a double Miss San Antonio since 1923?
Yes.
That's really cool. How did that happen? When did you get into pageants?
It was always a dream of mine. So the only role model I really had growing up was the first and only deaf Miss America. So her name's Heather Whitestone, and she was a dancer. And so she was the girl that I looked up to as a little girl. And so I always wanted to be the second Miss America who was deaf. So I started to learn how to play music, and I play music through vibrations. So I feel the music. And
like Beethoven?
Yeah, Beethoven wrote his most beautiful piece, I think, Moonlight Sonata, after he went deaf.
That is his most beautiful piece.
So that was one of the first pieces I learned how to play.
Oh, cool.
With that song. But I started with piano, all of that. Just love music. But part of what I learned was to be in Miss America. And so when I was 18 years old, I had that dream inside of me to do the organization for a long time, since I was 14 years old. And I just knew that I was supposed to start an organization as a young child for deaf children. I just knew.
Like a calling?
Yes. So I'm a believer, and I followed Jesus. So I just started learning how to follow him. And the more I followed him, the bigger I started dreaming to help other people. And so I started dreaming that I would start the organization. I felt so heavy with that calling, and I still do. I just know that's what I'm made for, and that's why I've experienced the hard things that I have experienced as a deaf person, is that all of it has been used for good. And it's all been restored. So all of my wasted years I've experienced as a child are now being restored to me in full and completeness, because I'm seeing how my hearing loss helps other people. So when I was 18, I came up with Aid the Silent, the organization. I knew that we would help children get resources, get a summer camp, give sign language classes, speech therapy, just anything that they need for personal success. I started working with teenagers, all of that. But I knew I needed kind of a public kickstart to the organization. And so around the time I started it, I ended up winning Miss San Antonio. So I got ready in just a month. And that was my platform that I came out with publicly in the city of San Antonio. So everybody knew I started an organization and was the first deaf person to win that title. So I came back 2017, kept it a complete secret that I was going to compete.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
No one knew. I kept it a secret because I wanted people to be surprised. So I just wanted to see a surprise factor because I knew that people probably wouldn't have expected it again. And I just wanted to try one more time for Miss America. Got very close. I was 4th runner-up last time out of 36 40 girls.
Really?
Yeah. So got really close to going to Miss America.
Wow.
So it was just one of those things, okay, this is a dream, so I'm going to try again. And now I'm seeing that that's not my only dream. There's a lot of other things why I did that. But because of that title, especially the second time around, it just gave everything a new wind again. So Aid the Silent reached more people. And more with the music festival that we had come up with the idea with around this time. I was Miss San Antonio the second time.
So why did you not compete in 2016?
I have to take a year off.
Oh, really?
Yes, to win the title again. And I only wanted to be Miss San Antonio. So I would have to become a different city if I came back 2016.
Gotcha.
So I decided I only want to represent San Antonio, because that's kind of my platform and my city that I fell in love with.
Plus, it is one of the 10 largest cities in America, so that's a good platform to start from. That's a good base.
Yes, and just the culture behind it and fiesta and getting to just be with the city and so many different places, like Morgan's Wonderland with the mayor. So just across the board, it's just my favorite city.
So has the city been pretty open to, having you, I guess, in parades and doing things like that? Has it been a good city for that?
Oh, yes. I mean, I think because San Antonio is becoming so diverse with people that have disabilities, then it was just perfect timing. I just took it to the next level because it went from just getting local news to national news. So I know I did my best representing San Antonio.
Cool. Now, you said that, when you were born, there wasn't really a big deaf community. Is there now?
Yes. I would say because of the Hill Country and San Antonio, it's all been very spread out. And deaf people haven't really gotten to come together for a cause. But through Aid the Silent, I really have seen a unity. And people that are deaf in the Hill Country and all over San Antonio are all coming together for one cause. And so now all of us are involved in church together. We volunteer at the organization. We go on trips together, have retreats. And so it's really becoming a unifying piece of the puzzle.
So where there wasn't a community, you're kind of helping build one.
I think I've become a bridge because it's just people that otherwise would have never met. Maybe some of them use sign language, maybe some don't. They're more listening and spoken language, which is how I grew up. And so all of a sudden it's becoming this beautiful little family to where the deaf people on this side who don't know sign language are willing to step in to the deaf person's world who does use sign language.
That's really sweet. I like that you called it a bridge, because that's really it. There was all these people, but they didn't really have a place to meet, like you said, a place to get together. So that's really cool. Tell me about #ShowYourAids.
Yes, so when I first started the organization, I had to figure out how to expand it very quickly. I had no money, so I was given $5,000 from a donor, and that was all I had. So I was trying to figure out how do I leverage what I've been given. Just the resources I was promising at the time was $6,000 to $10,000 for a pair of hearing aids. And so all I was given was $5,000. So I'm thinking, how do I leverage this? So I came up with a campaign called #ShowYourAids, like your hearing aids. It's definitely a play on words with the organization Aid the Silent and then hearing aid. But I missed San Antonio within that first month. I started getting all of these emails and letters coming in from deaf children and teenagers from all over the world. And they were saying that They were being bullied about hearing aids. They were insecure. They wished they could embrace deafness better and not hide it. And so I decided, why not create this movement to where deaf teenagers and adults are not embarrassed to be deaf. They can just show their hearing aids or implant. So when I did the hashtag, I promised that a donor was going to give $5 per post, up to 5,000. So I created this social movement leveraging the only donation I had. And so because of that, the first week we had no one participating in the campaign. I was the only hashtag show your age that first week. And then by the next week, a deaf community in Dallas had found it and they all did it. And then it went viral. And so it started going all across the United States. And then we started seeing it pop up in different languages. So all over South America.
Wow.
The UK, Australia, the Netherlands, Germany, Italy, Israel. So all of these places of hearing aids were being shown. And so that gave us an international platform. So all of a sudden we became known across the world in the deaf communities. Quickly after that, within 3 months, we had to hire the first staff person because of what was happening.
That's fast.
Fast, yeah. Especially being 18 years old and running an organization.
Were you still in high school at the time?
I was a freshman in college.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was in my spring semester at UTSA.
That had to be overwhelming.
Very overwhelming. But I was super grateful because it was almost like I have been waiting my entire life for something like this to happen. I was ready for it. And I mean, definitely I did not have the typical college experience of just being a student. I would work, bring my suitcase to class, and then fly out after school and then come back. Oh yes, for 3 years.
So when you're flying out, what are you doing?
I'm a speaker. So I was hired by corporations, organizations, churches, different deaf districts that were all hiring me to come speak. So through that process, I became a national speaker. Radical 4 years, for sure.
Wow, but you stuck it through and you graduated, right?
Yes, I just graduated.
Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done. So let's talk about Aid the Silent. Mm-hmm. I know that you said at the beginning you were a little nervous because you had, one donation, but you had sort of promised these things. Tell me what Aid the Silent is set up to do.
Yes, so we have 4 different branches. There's Deaf Ministry, which is that we're bringing kids to camp. And so we check.
So like a deaf church camp?
It's basically with Young Life, so it's not even a deaf prominent camp.
Oh.
It's just we want them to have the experience of going to Colorado, going to somewhere beautiful, going to Georgia and the mountains. So we want them to have that experience. But to bring a deaf kid to camp, you have to bring captioning and interpreters and leaders who know sign.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So you have to bring about a team of 6 people just to support the deaf kids going so that they have equal access and the full experience of the camp.
Is there some sort of a government subsidy that helps with that? Or is it all on you? You have to pay for everything?
We can do grants and we can do private donations, but not government help for camp.
Okay.
But that's something that we have to keep looking into. But there's nothing that I can think of at all. Now, I serve on a board for the government, but I haven't gotten funding. So another branch is called Deaf Education. And so we are helping schools that are Title I. So that's low-income, high-risk kids. So they know by law they're supposed to provide classroom equipment and hearing aids, but for them they're just trying to survive as a school, and so there's no funding. So yes, like that should be a government public funding for the kids, but
it just isn't.
It's not existent. It's not even there. So they know it's a law, but there's not even the funds to make it happen.
Right.
So it's really complicated, but we come in and we're saying we're not waiting until this kid is in senior and high school by the time they could get that resource. So we're providing that resource for them. Even if the school is able to provide it, they have to leave it at school. So then they can't come home and play video games to hear games. They can't talk with their families. They can't hear surrounding noises if they were riding their bikes in the neighborhood. So things like that, they're not having equal access once they come home.
So that branch of Aid the Silent helps with purchasing hearing aids or cochlear implants or...
Yeah, so we don't do cochlear implants, but we do hearing aids, and that's resources. But education aid more, we're coming into schools that have no support. So that whether that's funding interpreters for a field trip, or the ballet, or going to a play, also helping educators of the deaf constantly be learning and attending conferences. So that's just where we're able to step in for education. Deaf resources is hearing aids. That is a phone system, which is a classroom device they can wear. That's sign language. So we are teaching families to learn together versus the child only learning at the school system.
Right.
That's what happens. And then we can come in and teach the brothers and the sisters, both parents, all to be on the same page with sign language. And we're also able to provide speech therapy with any type of resource that we see that they couldn't use. And Deaf Ministry helps us be flexible. For example, we had several kids come and say their families can't afford school supplies. So because we have this flexible ministry, I'm able to come in and say, we bought your backpacks, we did a school drive. If we see a huge need, we will put it out in the community. We're collecting school supplies for deaf children. And then the community meets those needs.
Hey, streetwalkers. Well, you're not literally streetwalkers. But now that I've got your attention, I am Stephen O'Reilly, and I have a podcast called the Bar Star Podcast. And since you're listening to the Fascination Street podcast, I think you should check out my show. It's just as interesting without all the famous people, because Steve has connections that I just do not have. But if you dig podcasts about music, working musicians, and other random shit that I decided to talk about, based around music, of course, because that's what I do. I'm a working musician for the past 30 years, then you need to check out the Bar Star Podcast. You can get it wherever you get your podcast, on any platform, and make sure you check out barstarpodcast.com. Now back to the one and only Steve Owens and whatever the hell he was talking about.
And then also we have deaf awareness, which is raising awareness about hearing loss. So we have two big events. It's the 5K, which is May 18th. And that is about 100 or more deaf people come. About 900 hearing supporters come. And then for the Good Vibrations Festival, I believe it's in September. And that is the first fully deaf, all accessible music fest. So we're teaching people in big corporations how to throw big deaf events. So how do you become accessible for hearing loss? Because in San Antonio, it's very relevant because we have, I believe it's 7 military bases. So hearing loss is one of the number one war wounds coming back. Every veteran I've ever met has almost every veteran has some type of hearing damage or hearing loss. And then they don't have support, and some of them can't afford hearing aids, all of that. So we're raising awareness for the city to help think through, if I have a veteran with hearing loss walking into this meeting, what are the things I can do for that person? And so we help with captioning. We have, on the festival, we have it split perfectly between interpreting and the actual band themselves. Oh, cool. And then across the bottom is captioning. So anywhere in the festival ground, you can see interpreting, captioning, and the band all at once. And you're not just confined to the corner with an interpreter. There's an all-encompassing experience. There's vibrating backpacks with the music.
Oh, really?
Yes. So it's Bluetooth technology. And so you can feel the music on you in a backpack.
That is so cool.
Isn't that amazing?
That really is cool.
It's the coolest thing. And deaf people, they just come alive because so many of them have not experienced music in years. And all of a sudden, they're able to feel it and experience it. So that's the best part, I think, is when I first watched them put the backpack on and the band's going really hard with a drum or a bass and they can feel it. And then we have a dance floor that lights up. So that's what's so cool. A dance floor that moves and sync with the music.
That's really, really cool. So it's a sensory envelope.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So they're getting to experience it. Because music is not just for your ears. You're experiencing it, you're seeing it. It creates emotions and vibrations. Right. And so it's a really beautiful thing.
That backpack sounds really cool. Like, this is purely selfish, but I think that even for a fully capable hearing person, I think that would be amazing to be able to hear it and feel it.
Yes.
That sounds really cool.
I know. It's so cool. But there's people, the other ones that get to check it out.
Good.
So it's like, oh, you're on the other side, that you want to be a part of something that you can't.
I like that.
Yeah.
So I think also in 2018 you were one of San Antonio's Woman of the Year, right? For the 40 under 40?
Yes, so I was the Woman of the Year for 2018. I'm about to give up that title for someone new, but that was so amazing because I'm thinking, wow, I'm so young. I was the only nonprofit.
How old are you?
I am 22.
22, okay.
Yes, so I kept it a secret for a long time because I did not want people to know that I was 18 years old running an international organization. So I would go and ask for funds and money and travel all over the world for the organization. But I was only 18 or 19. So I was having to kind of figure out how do I navigate and I'm in charge of all of this. And then people find out, oh, she's only 19. Right. So now I'm more open because I think it's cool to see that I was used so young to be in my calling. But yes, I was the youngest Woman of the Year.
Wow. So what did that do for getting the word out about Aid the Silent?
Anything like this helps. It just keeps widening who I reach. So it went from a very public experience to a very business corporation experience. So all of a sudden that platform brought me into a whole new group of businessmen and corporations that now wanted to know all about the organization, how to give and how to give in kind and how to support and sponsor the music festival. So it's always such an amazing gift for anything like this.
Very cool. So you said earlier you play 4 instruments?
Yes.
Which ones?
So I started with piano, and then that led into guitar. And so I started singing, playing at coffee shops. And then the ukulele, you're able to pick it up pretty well after you learn guitar.
Oh, okay.
And then last minute, before Miss Texas, I decided I wanted to play a kick drum, my guitar. So in just 2 months, I learned how to play it.
So you're playing guitar and kick
drumming.
Drum? Are you singing also?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
It's like patting your stomach on your head and tapping your foot.
I bet.
The beat. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So you have to learn with that pocket of your groove of where it's going.
Right.
So I loved it. So yeah, I've just been playing for a while. It's funny because I'm kind of getting back into music this past couple of months.
Well, you didn't have time because you were full-time college and running this thing. And so now that you've graduated, you'll have time to
yes,
enjoy
for music.
again.
Yes. So I'm really excited about that.
Very cool. So we touched a little bit on the Good Vibrations Music Fest. How many years has it been going on?
Just 2 years.
Just 2 years.
Yes, so our 3rd year is coming up. And we moved it to San Antonio.
It started in Bernie?
It started in the Hill Country.
Oh, okay,
so
the Hill Country. Okay.
And so we just moved it to San Antonio because it really is something the city is very passionate about. And it really puts a focus on San Antonio. And I chose the location. It's at the Sunken Gardens.
Oh, that place is beautiful.
It's such a history spot. And I chose it because the previous year, very first year, I had a friend in a wheelchair who could not get around in the field.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And so I was very aware of her experience was not the best experience for her. And so it's very important to me that I figured out how to be accessible not just for the deaf, but also anyone that walks in. So I looked at this venue and saw that there was a lot of concrete and sidewalks and ramp accessibility. So I was pretty passionate about moving it there.
I'm sure you know this, but back in the 70s and the 80s, Sunken Gardens Theater in San Antonio was the preeminent concert venue.
I know.
Everybody came there. Everybody.
I know. And now it's changed so much. So I really want the study to put life back into it. So I'm hoping to meet with some people. They need to put glass in there. They need to make it more homey.
It's been a long time since I've been there. I can't imagine what it looks like now. But back in its day, it was so beautiful.
Yes, it's still beautiful. It just needs some TLC.
There you go. Well, it sounds like you have a knack for shining a light on things that need some work. So
Yes. We need some life back. Yeah.
It's in your capable hands. So well done.
Yeah, it's beautiful there. And especially at nighttime, we would have all of the lights on the old structure. We had put the stage and built it into the structure.
Right.
So it's so amazing. And then at nighttime, especially all the light shows and the syncing with the music, it starts to really come alive. And we always get these giant beach balls that are in sync with the music that are lighting up. And so you see them get tossed across the crowd and people are dancing. And so it's just the most whimsical event. And the vibe of Good Vibes is actually very organic, natural life feel. So super colorful and really, it's just a beautiful family-friendly event. So tons of families come and there's face painting and there's sign language everywhere because there is about 300 people with hearing loss who come, and then the other 1,500 are hearing. So it's just a beautiful mix of people. You really understand how deaf accessibility works once you're there.
I mean, you said it's family friendly and there's face painting and stuff like that. Is there alcohol there?
Yes. So it's kind of, the vibe is very mellow. So we keep the music that we choose is to be family friendly. So it's just a great place to be with your family. And also young adults come. So the mix of people that have been there. So we want it to be the size of like an ACL but minus a lot of the craziness that you get with it.
Right.
So we want to keep it what it is and that same feeling and atmosphere because it's a very loving atmosphere because everything that I do for deaf awareness, whether it's the 5K or the music fest, is I'm really pushing the message. And you will hear me get up and talk and some of my partners will get up and talk. And it will always be about loving your neighbor and loving the neighbor that you don't see. Because for me, the deaf community is always overlooked, or people with disabilities are never spotlighted. There's very few rights for them. Like the Disabilities Act did not come until the 90s.
Right.
So people have not had rights, and it's still a new thing. And so just for me to be able to promote those messages across the board is very important. Very much a cause-driven event. So people are thinking, oh, it's a music festival. Once they're there, they see, oh, this is something so much bigger than a music festival.
Now, this music festival has won some awards, right?
Yes, so we are the National Charity Music Fest. We won an award that was presented by Jeff Bridges and Kenny Loggins, the Coen brothers, so we got to be with them for about 3 days in Santa Barbara, and so we became the first form charity festival of the year. So it was our first year that we won it. So we were pretty stunned. We had no idea that was going to happen, but we just believe in our cause so much that right now music festivals are all frantically trying to find some type of social cause or social good because millennials now are not reached by traditional advertising.
Right.
They're reached by a cause and people doing social good. And so for us, we started with social good. And then we added the festival to promote social good. A lot of festivals are now trying to find a social good to be attached to.
That makes sense. Millennials are more about, I guess, global change.
Which is a great thing.
That's a great thing. Tell me about Love Hears in the Silence.
So we created a music video, my team, and one of my great friends, his name's Ryan Prophet, he's a local artist as well, and so we have always worked together in ministry or with singing, and so we were asked if we would write a song for a documentary about a deaf and a hearing person like falling in love and navigating a hearing world with the deaf world. And so we wrote this song. And really, it was honestly just my story in the song. So if you listen to the words, there's a part that says, you stepped in to share the silence with me. And it talks about, I'm so lonely, I can hear my heartbeat. So that one phrase is talking about being in an audio booth, having your hearing tested, because I am at such profound loss that I cannot hear the sounds they're trying to see if I can respond to. Can't hear it, but then you get so nervous that you know you're not hearing what's happening. Your heart starts pounding so hard. So that phrase is about, I'm in an audio booth knowing I'm becoming more deaf. I'm losing my hearing. And then the next line says, but you stepped in to the silence. And on the video, you physically see my friend stepping in to sit with me.
Is that Ryan Proudfoot?
Yes, the artist. And so we made this video and it went viral because it really was just a sweet story, and people with hearing loss, they never get to have videos about their experiences or music about their experiences. So it was just a really beautiful project that kind of did something way bigger than what we were planning on doing.
Can I play that song on this episode?
Oh yeah, please.
Can I play it right here?
Yes.
With you, I have no fear. Your perfect love casts it far away. Sitting in this heavy silence, it's waking the real me, waking the real me. This is the real me. Words I don't always understand, yet I know that I'm understood. You are nothing, yet you give it all, with no strings attached. Oh, 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 oh.
Also, can I put a link in the show notes to the video? Is that okay?
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
Awesome. Thank you. Now, I think recently you were appointed by the Texas governor, Greg Abbott, to something. Tell me about that.
I was appointed on Greg Abbott's committee on people with disabilities. So what we do is we take a lot of public comments and concerns about policy, and we will make a policy recommendation. So we will have mothers come forward and children that have been in foster care systems that are deaf. And so we're looking at an array of different problems, and we are coming up with a policy recommendation for the state on anything that pertains to people that have disabilities. So whether that's service dog rights, getting on an airplane, accessibility at a public business, anything that has to do with navigating life as someone with a disability and their rights and policy. And so I started serving on that committee, and it's amazing because some of the reasons I started Aid the Silent, now I actually have a say on what's happening policy-wise. So things that have to do especially with children in the foster care systems who are deaf, a lot of times they get labeled as unadoptable or having severe mental illness, and it's just because they're deaf and they don't have the right interpreter or they don't have language access that they're being labeled as unadoptable, which there are families that would want to adopt them, and they're not being labeled correctly in the foster care system, so nobody can find them, the people that do want to adopt deaf children. So things like this, looking deeper, how do we create a task force for this? What are the main issues? What kind of questions for CPS are we trying to change? And how they navigate that? So it's just really a really impactful thing, a thing that I'm very passionate about. I am very passionate about the nonprofit, about providing resources, but also I want to deal with the root issues. Root issues are policy, and how do I make the community aware of these issues that are happening?
How did you get selected for this task force? Yeah.
You have to apply, and I have been doing a lot with the committee. So I have won an award for the Love Hears, and it's called the Barbara Jordan Media Award, and that was through them. A lot of my work through the Capitol beforehand, finding out, oh, this is where I want to serve, and I was nominated and appointed for it, so that's kind of where I've been with that.
That's really cool. So what is the plan? Like, what do you envision the future to be for the Aid the Silent organization?
So we came up with a 5-year plan and 10-year plan, but really I'm just hoping that someone gives us a warehouse building downtown.
Warehouse?
I want a building.
For what?
So we could have audiology booths, and we can have testing ASL classes. We can have a deaf events there. We can store a good vibration thing. And also for our staff to have an office, because we are exploding upstairs. There's no more room for anyone. And we have no place to meet. Most of the people we service are actually in Bay County. And right now, we're in Boone.
Right.
So we have to travel every day.
And traffic with I-10 shut down is terrible both ways.
Oh, it's terrible. Yes. So
terrible.
I finally moved myself from Boone for the first time in my life, just so I could be the closest person to all of what we're doing in San Antonio. It would be such a gift to have a building, an Aid the Silent building, so we could have classes, we could host parent-teacher seminars for deaf children, we could have a deaf teen support groups meet, and we were just given a van. So just having a van to transport kids from one place to the next would be amazing.
Gotcha. Those do sound amazing. What do you think is in the future for the Good Vibrations Music Fest? You can stop doing it now?
We have one more. We're doing the third one this September. And that's always a crazy thing of faith, because you started with no funds. And
Every year you started with no funds?
Yes, but sponsoring. You have to raise sponsorships. So we're raising massive corporate sponsorships every year. It's just too good. Every year we think, oh, we're done this year. And then all of a sudden one person comes in that says, oh, we're going to give and we're sponsoring. And you're just like, oh, I guess we're doing it again. It's the most beautiful thing, but it's the hardest thing we've ever done.
Sounds stressful.
It's so stressful, but also it just clutches us. I mean, we've been we've reached incredible points of our faith and just believing that this is possible and we are going through another festival. And so I believe it will continue at this rate, but also we're just taking it year by year, seeing what's going to happen and who comes forward. But the dream is that we can make it traveling.
Oh, traveling?
Yes.
Really?
Because we would want to bring it to Colorado Springs. There's a big deaf community there. And bring it to Washington, D.C. because Gallaudet University is there and they're willing to host it. So how do we make this a traveling festival?
And I think that if it travels, then you have maybe more of a chance to, to get new and different musical acts, because not everybody wants to come to nowhere, Texas.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap up, but first, can you tell everybody where they can find you on social media?
Yes, so my personal business page is Emma Faye Rudkin. So I post everything that's going on with Aid the Silent, aidthesilent.com. You can follow Aid the Silent on Facebook, Instagram. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. And that's a really cool place to be connected because I will always be signing. I'm using captioning videos. I'm making my own social stuff accessible. So people really learn how do you become accessible on social media. So I always use things as a teaching tool. You can see the events we do. So I speak at schools every week. I'm meeting with people every week. So you can really see what we're doing to impact the community and deaf children's lives and teenagers' lives. So that's really where you can be connected with me. And just aidthesilent.com is the best place to go.
And where can people donate to Aid the Silent?
On aidthesilent.com is where you can be connected to give. You can send it to our offices. We have a big gala that happens. It's at the Whitty Museum.
Oh.
Yes, March 22nd.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that's happening. And you can buy tables. You can invite your friends from your work. So that's going to be an amazing experience. And that's really a good place to give as well.
And where can people find out more and donate to the Good Vibrations Music Festival?
At goodvibrationsmusicfest.com.
Oh, okay, great.
Yes, and just connecting with our offices because it's sponsorship. So you can sponsor things all the way from $1,000 photo ops up until 50,000, 100,000 opportunities to bring in bands, the stage. So there's such an array for businesses to be involved.
Very cool. And lastly, is there anything that we didn't talk about or that I didn't ask you about that you wanted to talk about?
I think just remembering that who I used to be and who I am now, it's important for people that have hope that what we're experiencing currently is not the rest of our lives, the hard things. I'm living a time when my deepest pain is now a launch pad for my greatest calling. So I think people, they need to remember that in times where they feel like, oh, this will never end. This pain, this depression, this anxiety, this family situation, being unemployed, all of those things, that they remember there is something more coming. So you have to trust the process.
I think those are very wise words to go out on. Mm-hmm. Emma Faye Rudkin, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us on Fascination Street and let us get to know a little bit more about you.
Thank you.
You have a great day.
Hey guys, this is Steve Owens from Fascination Street Podcast here with a very important message. I'm awesome. I bet you thought I was going to say something else, but nope. What's important here is that I am awesome. I started this show because I truly believe that everybody has a story, and I'm fascinated to hear those stories. In the short time I've been doing this show, I've interviewed actors, directors, writers, inventors, podcasters, musicians, pro athletes, Olympic athletes, actual war heroes, even a Bond girl and a luthier, whatever the hell that is, and of course, regular people. From people who wanted to be stars but never gave it a real try, to big company CEOs and people who got to meet their favorite president. I love getting to meet and speak with people who have a story to tell. I feel like everyone does, and it's my job to get them to tell it. You never know who my next guest will be. An Academy Award-winning actor, a platinum-selling musician, or your own mother-in-law. But one thing is for certain, you will be fascinated by their story. So come take a walk with me down Fascination Street. You can find Fascination Street Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and of course, FascinationStreetPod.com.
Opening music is the song Magnolia from the 2014 album Intransigence, used with permission from Douglas Miles Clark. Closing music is Apollo from the 2001 album Into the Known by the band Sapphire. Thanks for hanging out with us and getting to know a little bit about our guest. We'll see you next time on Fascination Street.